This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, it's Friday night, and this is the Ramble. I'm Alex, and we go until midnight tonight from the East Coast of the United States of America. Anyway, last time we talked to Larry Bubbles Brown, we came up with a question for ourselves. What was the show that lasted only one episode? And
as we were gloating over failures.
Yeah, and I was trying to remember the show, and I thought, well, it had like a drug-related term or a hippie term or something as its title. And it turned out that it was...
You were right.
We looked it up, Turn On, and it says here in IMDb, one episode. It says premiere... It says
title should have been Turn Off, I guess.
On IMDb, it says premiere show and final show. How many TV series can make that, a reality?
It seems to me that went on in the spring of 1970, but I could be wrong.
Let's see here. 1969. Wednesday, February 5th, 1969. So you're really close.
I was a year off. Damn.
Yeah. Stars on the show. Do you remember the stars at all?
Was Teresa Graves on that?
You're right. Jeez almighty. God, your memory's terrific. Who else?
That's the only one I remember because I kind of had a crush on her.
Tim Conway.
Tim Conway, wow.
Yeah, and let's see here. Who else? Anybody? Hamilton Camp. He was a San Francisco person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And let me see here. I'm trying to remember who. I can't remember any of the other people. Writing credits: Norman Hudis, Mark Warren was the director. Chuck McCann. Now here, Chuck McCann was on it. Do you know,
a friend of yours.
A friend of mine. He's the one that told me the story, which I mentioned last time we talked to you, which was coming back into the office the next morning, and there was tumbleweed rolling through the offices. That's how he described it. And he said, I found out the show had been canceled. He said, my one big network break at that time, and it's been canceled. Boom. That's it. Goodbye. See you later. Go home. And there were no more. I don't think there were any more produced either.
That's incredible. It was one show and done. Wow.
Well, who's our friend who lives in Sacramento, the comedian?
Jack Gallagher.
Jack Gallagher, who, occasionally people might have seen him as the doctor for Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm. But basically, he got this job with the network. They said, we want to be in the Jack Gallagher business, as they put it. And we're going to put you in a series. He had no objection to it. And by the way, Jack Gallagher, maybe one of the nicest guys in comedy. Am I speaking out of turn?
Great guy and a great comic, yeah.
A great comic as well. Very funny. But just absolutely nobody has anything bad to say about Jack Gallagher, okay? Nobody has anything bad to say about Larry Bubbles Brown either. So
Jack, he's got that super high likability factor too.
Yeah, and he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do this sitcom with him. It may have been called The Jack Gallagher Show, or it may have had some kind of title or whatever. But anyway, I'm so happy for him, and I think you remember this situation, don't you?
I remember it didn't last long.
Well, here's the deal. This is the one that you, as a comic and as a performer and as somebody who maybe would like to get a TV show sometime, right? This story will give you the willies. So they do the series. They do the first episode, right? They've got, I think, 6 episodes in the can or something like that. And the premiere night was going to be a Monday night. And they were going to schedule it, or maybe it was a Sunday night. They were going to schedule 2 episodes one night after another. Big premiere opening for this show. And to even show more confidence, they take out a double-page spread and TV guide. You remember the old days, TV guide,
yeah.
Small little magazine. But if you opened it up and there was a 2-page thing, it just went across the whole, magazine. They take out a full-page, 2-page ad in TV guide for this thing. Comes, the Saturday before the show's supposed to go on, and somebody calls. It's the head of programming at ABC. She says, "Hi, this is so-and-so." It was a female. "I'm the new head of programming at ABC. I just got the job. And I looked at your show, and we decided we're not going to run it."
Oh, God. That's the right out of Seinfeld, where the woman says, "I replaced the..."
Yeah, she said that was a product of the former program director of ABC, and I'm sorry, I don't like the show.
So, that's exactly what happened on Seinfeld.
He got canceled before the show ever went on with a 2-page ad in TV Guide. And I was so happy for Jack, I tuned in at like 8 o'clock on Sunday or something like that, and nothing. He isn't there. And finally, about a year later, when I met up with him, I said to him, "How'd you feel about that?" I said, "If it happened to me, they'd have to pull the gun out of my mouth." And he said, "You just take it. That's television. That's the business. And you just get on with your life." And he wound up doing a little TV show up in Sacramento on the local station. And I don't know, what's he doing right now? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
I talk to him occasionally. He's done a bunch of one-man shows. Those are pretty good. And he worked for the California Lottery for a while, and he did have his own show in Sacramento. So he's done fine.
Yeah,
he's got a really nice house up there.
He's made a nice living. He's had a good life, I think, all things considered. He was Larry David's doctor. He's done stuff, and but never achieved having a network comedy show. But that's the most horrid story I've ever heard.
Yeah, that would be. You should have him on. It'd be fun for you to talk to him about that.
Yeah, well, I think I did once when he came down and did my show, and I went, he's okay. This is it's too bad that this had to happen, but his life has turned out okay, and his likability factor is still the same, So, because I wondered, but I have wondered what happened to him if he's still working. Is he working comedy at all? Do you know?
He does a little, yeah. And I think in that show, I think Jeff Garland was in that cast that nobody saw. But
oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I look up Jack Gallagher. The wonderful thing about the internet. Well, I especially like IMDb. Let me look up Jack Gallagher. Oops. Here's Jack Gallagher. Here we go. Yeah, that he was in Shakes the Clown. That was a film with.
I remember that, and I think the sitcom was at 94.
Yeah. On 4 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm, he was, let's see here, Dr. Katz, professional therapist. He was on that. Was this the show? Bringing Up Jack?
That's it, yeah.
Was that it?
Uh-huh.
Bringing Up Jack. And it says all 6 episodes. So there were 6 episodes done. And who was on the show? Let's see here.
Jeff Garland.
Let me see here. Let's see if you're right.
I could be right.
There isn't a Jeff. Jeff Garland is not listed here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but to show you how little IMDb knows of Jack Gallagher, they don't have a picture for him here. But Matthew Lawrence was in it, Lisa Friedman, people I don't know. Elaine Lembeck, Marianne, Tom Willett, Wolf. That doesn't. Oh, all cast and crew.
Wow,
so
yeah.
Go here, all cast and crew. No, he's not listed there. Yeah. But anyway, bringing up Jack, folks, never saw the light of goddamn day.
No,
Amazing.
And he probably got that because he did a couple of Carsons.
It could be, I mean, you do Carson, you're successful on Carson, which I think he was.
Yeah, he killed on there, and
yeah,
one of the best TV sets I've ever seen a comic have was the one you hosted, Comedy Tonight, when he.
If you do it on a Wednesday, and you kill, by Thursday you've got an agent, and by Friday you've got a series.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way it went in Hollywood at that time. But, I mean, it's really amazing to me, that kind of story. It only shows how stupid television is, and how executives in television are really dumb.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to ask yourself the question, do you want to be in that business? I mean, wouldn't you be better off just trying to do movies, for instance? Or even doing a part on a existing TV show, and maybe if they offer you a continuing role on that series, taking that, isn't that better than having a failure like Jack had? And I'm sure it haunted him in the business for many years. I mean, they went, "Oh, wasn't that the guy that was canceled before the show ever went on?" Do you want that reputation?
I would think going with a show that's getting a new show off the ground has got to be just almost impossible.
Well, first, here are the things you got to do, folks, in case people don't know this, and they should know this. It's all part of what television is. First of all, you got to go in and pitch it, okay? And you got to pitch it to executives who know nothing about comedy, right? The best thing I ever saw, there was a show called Episodes. And it was about some people launching a TV show. And they had the head of comedy programming as a character on the show, and she never laughed. She was always very grim and always looked like she was smelling farts. And that's pretty much it. They don't necessarily know anything, but they've got the power over your life. So first you got to pitch the show to them. And then given that they go, well, sounds like a good idea, get me a script, okay? So then you pour over a script, and then you go back to them with the script, and they take notes on the script and say, change this, change this, change this, and then you change it all.
Take all the funny out.
Yeah, and then they say, okay, we'll go to a pilot. So then you do a pilot, and that's a full run-through of the show, an example of what it's going to be. And you do the pilot, and then it goes again through that same process of, well, are we going to go to series? Are we not going to go to series? And you really don't find that out till the fall when they decide what shows they're going to put on their schedule. So, I mean, it's just arduous, rather than the reason Netflix, why performers love to go to Netflix and get things approved, is they go to them, pitch them an idea, and they say, good, go ahead and do it.
Wow.
There's none of this, oh, well, then we got to go to pilot, and then we got to wait and see if we're going to put it on or not. No. And that's why they like Netflix. Netflix says, okay, make it. Here's the money. See you when it's through. And they don't even put in their 2 cents worth about how the show's coming out. They don't sit there on the set and wrangle with you. And that's what everybody says they like about them. They let me make my movie. They let me do my TV show. And so they've taken up for the failures of television, which is a lot of executives being a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and it was the radio was run not much better. They were always listening to consultants. That was a big thing I remember when we were around.
Well, also every station had a program director. And I got to tell you, although I liked my program directors as people, okay, I didn't have much respect for most of them. Because I knew what I needed to do. I could be successful. Leave me alone. I'll get you ratings. All right, but they weren't happy with that. They always had to meddle, to feel that they were putting in their 2 cents worth.
Yeah, make them feel worth something, I guess. But they always destroyed everything.
And what they would do in radio stations, the program directors would hold after-show meetings, in which they would then have the show on tape, and then they would play back little parts of it, and this was wrong, and that was right, and this was wrong, and this was right. And you're going, God damn it. Finally, I had one program director, the guy at Live 105, Richard Sands, is a great guy. One day finally said, these meetings I'm holding with you are stupid. Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't Richard Sands. Oh, no, it was my program director, Dave Gorab at Sirius XM. He said after about, a couple of months of these meetings, after every show, he said, I don't think we have to have these meetings anymore. Who am I to tell Alex Bennett what to do? And I went, now this guy I like.
Yeah.
And I like Richard Sands. He was terrific. But he did have a meeting every day, and we would sit there and argue like crazy, But he was a good guy, but I still felt I was right and he was wrong. If that makes any sense.
Well, of course, it's your show.
And I hope if he's listening to this, Richard, you were wonderful to me. I appreciate it, But but it was Dave Gorab, and I appreciated that when he said that to me, because he realized that no matter what he told me in these meetings, the next day I'd go in and do exactly the opposite, in radio stations, what gives you the most power? Good ratings. With good ratings, you could go in and take down your pants and take a dump on the general manager's desk, and they go, "Oh, Alex, cut it out," But if your ratings are lousy, they'd fire you. So I mean, in broadcast, in television especially, ratings are everything. The problem with a lot of these things like Hulu and I said nice things about Netflix, but they almost have to work that way because they don't really, I think, have ratings, and so they have to go on gut level, and they also know they don't need ratings. They know how many people are watching any show at any given time because it's on the internet. And they just look the meter and see how many people are watching and using bandwidth. So they don't have to even have ratings. It's pretty much put the ratings people out of business where those streaming services are concerned.
Yeah, I think they found on their comedy specials, even big comics, a lot of people seem to tune out after about 15 minutes.
Well, I got let go at Sirius XM, but after 9 years, 9.5 years. And I think part of the reason I lasted that long was because there were no ratings. There was no way they could figure out how many people were listening to a show on Sirius XM. Unlike streaming, they were shooting these shows down by satellite. And there was no two-way on those satellites, so they couldn't tell how many people were picking up the satellite at any given time. And so we never had any ratings. And so they had to go by gut level. Which it's good and it's bad because I was always very good at getting ratings, and I could use that as my survival mode. Hey, I'm getting you good numbers. But no, we didn't have ratings. We were shooting. I didn't know if I had 3 people listening or 3 million.
I did. That's a long run you had there. I forgot it was that long.
It was a long. I think it was the longest run I ever had in any outfit that I ever worked for. Maybe Live 105 was longer if you don't count the time I was not there for about, 9 months or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the day? See, I got fired, folks, from Live 105. Well, was it fired? I'm trying to remember now. I was fired from Live 105. And I went down to Florida. That's where I got to hate Florida so much. And then I came back, and there was a new general manager, Pat McNally, and he said, why don't we put the team back together again? Because the ratings were just terrible, okay, for the morning show. They thought they had a good idea of getting this guy Perry Stone from San Jose, and he's going to get us ratings, and he didn't. He was just terrible. Anyway, I come back, and I'd been fired, but now I'm coming back. People like Larry Brown had to suddenly hear that I was coming back. How did you feel? How did you get that news, and how did you feel about it?
I just remember we were so happy. You called me or Feldman, and you actually came out and met us at the Walnut Creek Punchline on a Sunday night, like a week before you're going back on air. This would have been July of '91.
Yeah.
And I was just, we were just so happy to have you back. I remember it was really great.
Yeah, but I told you there that I was coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, you remember these things. I don't. In fact, I'm going to call you up every time I need a time or date for something I did if I'm writing like an autobiography or something, because
you met us at the Walnut Creek Punchline, then we went over to Denny's, and I think that's when you told us that you're coming back on the air, and then I think the first or second week you were on, you actually did a show at the Masonic.
Yes. It was a return show, and we did a
return show. Yeah,
yeah, we did a live show, but it's funny with me getting older, and I'm about ready, while after this episode has been played, I will have reached 82 years old. I have a hard time remembering years. In other words, like, when did I first go to San Francisco? Well, I think that was 69, okay? And I spent most of the 70s in San Francisco. Or, wait a minute, most of the 70s in New York. And then the 80s I spent in San Francisco.
Right.
But you see, right there I made the mistake. The continuity in my life kind of has gone wonky on me.
Well, you can see why they have a statute of limitations, because of people's memories in court. You just couldn't be very hard to convict somebody of people's faded memories of something that happened 20 or 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely. And when I talk to you, you remember the exact dates. I mean,
I can remember a lot of the dates. Yeah, I can remember. Let's see.
Well, when did I first go on the air at Live 105? I had gone from from Camel to the Quake, and then Live 105. What year? What day? Do you remember the date?
Live 105, I believe, was February of '86.
February of '86. You see, and I always thought it was earlier than that. Right?
Well, you'd been on the Quake before that,
and I started there when, do you know?
I did the first show I did with you was in '83, but I think you were on the Quake at least in '82. And before that, before I knew you, before I did stand up, apparently you were on Camel.
KMEL, right. Okay, so
Then Quake you were on Quake, and then they were running out of money or something, and you were off the air for a while before you came back to Live 105.
Right. Well, there was a something like a 6-month period or something.
Yeah, it was a long time, and it was about. And I think Live 105 was one of the first modern music, rock musics in the country.
Yeah. Progressive, I think we call it.
So you were there February of '86, and then I remember they let you go in July of '89.
We're remembering my career by the times I've been fired.
Yes. And then in July of '89, then you're off the air for a while. Then you had the earthquake.
I'll tell you. Well, we're running out of time, but maybe I can do it quickly. They had to pay me while I was off because I had a contract. They had to keep paying me, And all of a sudden, Live 105 came along and decided, let's make like a sports offer, and they have to pay. We'll only pay half his salary. They still have to pay the other half. And then if he gets the same ratings that he got at the Quake, we will then take over the entire amount. And the guys at the Quake said, no, we want you to take. We want to do the 50%. Leave it at that, okay? And the first ratings that came out, I equaled my ratings over at the Quake.
Wow!
And so they had to keep paying half my salary for about a year and a half, something like that. Anyway, that was a bad decision on their part. But the good decision on my part was talking to Larry Bubbles Brown today because he reminds me of all the things that I did when I did them. Thanks, Larry. See you next time.
Alex.
Bye.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yes, Larry Bubbles Brown. Good to have him on in the new year. Huh? Yeah, and he'll be with us again next week as well. Anyway, welcome to our fine program. This is, I seem to be, I always worry about being in sync. I don't know why. I have so many things that I have to do here when I'm doing the show. I mean, I switch things back and forth. Like if I push a button here, see, all of a sudden that comes up, and then that comes up, and then, I don't know, then my camera comes up, and here I am. And I have to do all those things, and on top of that, I have to make sure it's going out okay, and that it's recording okay, and that everything is happening that's supposed to be happening, and I'm too old for this crap. That's what it's really about. But anyway, I have glasses on lately because ever since I got my eyes fixed, my eyesight has gone bad. Is that ridiculous? But I can't I can't read that well, so I put these on and I'm good to go. It's like Betty Davis said, getting old ain't for sissies, and that's damn sure. Anyway, let's see here. We got to go to our panel. But as usual, there's nobody there waiting except for a couple of people who I happen to like a lot, and I will admit them now. And we will hope that other people join them shortly. But I don't give much hope here that there'll be more than these people. Charlie Wallace, hello, Charlie, hey. And Josh Wheeler, hello, Josh.
Hello.
Oh, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, how'd you get through the new year? Was your new year okay?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, what'd you do? Anything special?
No, I didn't do anything. I was pretty sick for a long time.
What do you mean you were sick?
Yeah, I was sick.
What do you think you had?
Don't know.
COVID, maybe?
Probably, but I don't know. I didn't take a test, so I don't know.
How about your wife?
I was working. I was always sick during the holidays.
Yeah.
I would be well the whole rest of the year, but every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, I would always be sick.
It's your body going, whew.
Yeah.
But did your wife get sick?
Yeah, before I was. Like a day or two before Christmas, she was. And then Christmas Eve, we usually go stay at a hotel somewhere, and she was. But not really bad, just like a inconvenient cold. And then maybe the next day a little worse, and then really was fine. But I became much more sick than she was.
Well, let's ask the expert here. How about you, Brian? Does it sound like he had COVID? There goes Brian. Where are you? Oh.
I'm going through a tunnel. I'm losing signal.
Okay. All right. Fine. Oh, you make the damn machines that test for this stuff, right?
Yeah, but who knows anything anymore?
Yeah. Well, you could have had it, which is actually good because you survived. If you did get it, you survived it okay, and you probably have more antibodies besides the ones you got with the shots. So,
Never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still each day a little better, but I still have maybe like once every 90 minutes I've got a cough.
Yeah,
For a couple minutes and get it all cleared out, then I might be okay for an hour, and then I got to do it again or whatever.
There was a period of time just before COVID hit big time that I was sick for about 2 weeks, I think, something like that. And I don't know that maybe I didn't have it back then.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. But I'm, so far I managed to dodge the bullet. So
yeah, I was never like life-threatening worry or anything, but I definitely had a couple days where I coughed a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, it got to be where my ribs bothered me more than anything because they hurt really bad.
Charlie, would you bet he had COVID?
He probably could have had a mild case of it.
Yeah.
They say the kids right now they're having a really bad cough.
It's like,
So maybe Josh's young body.
I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It's pretty much done now, I guess. Like I said, I still feel some stuff, but nothing major.
Well, you're still alive. That's good.
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, I was pretty much off work anyway. Basically, there was a day or two I was going to be in, and then a fair amount of my job is on the computer anyway, and I can do it from home. So I just kept up with a lot of my stuff from the house instead of going in and stuff like that. So I stopped in one morning and walked around and checked on a couple things, and didn't really interact with anybody, and then left. So
how are you feeling now?
I'm fine. Like I said, I might have to call for something here and there, like maybe during the show I'll have the mute button and, clear everything out or something. But other than that, I'm okay.
Everybody put on your masks. Yeah. And stay 6 feet away from them. Or is it 12 feet now? Is the new normal 12 feet? Oh, look who's coming on a Friday. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I thought it's not allowed.
Huh? No, it's allowed. He can call anytime he wants to. I just, tried to make it easier for him. That's all. I don't know why.
I see a full moon and fireworks.
Oh, the full moon.
Beautiful picture, Phil.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. What do we owe this whatever it is?
I had a COVID story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So yesterday, my installer.
Turn your mic. Would you do me a favor? Turn your mic down a little bit, okay? Because it would overpower everybody else, and
that lower.
There we go. That's good. Yeah.
So yesterday, my installer is starting a new job. These people have been waiting a month for us to have a moment to be able to install. Mm-hmm. And he gets there, and the lady's wearing a mask, and she says, I'm got a little bit of a sniffle. All right. So he tears out all the flooring that's there, and it's down to the subfloor, and the customer's daughter comes in and says, well, I've got a COVID test that I got from my friend. Why don't you see if that's what's going on? She tested positive for COVID. So my installer calls me and says, Phil, what should I do? I said, pack your tools and get out of there. And I said, take the next 5 days, stay at home, and I'll pay you, but you got to quarantine. And then, Monday get a COVID test, and let me know what's going on. So the lady she's crying. I said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, I can't have him work around you and then go into other people's homes. I can't do it. So the husband says, oh, geez, thank you for putting us back in the rotation at the end of the month. Yeah. I said, I think everybody will be fine.
Meanwhile, I hope you all like your bare floors.
Oh, yeah, she was crying. She says, I'm sick, and now I have to walk around on subfloor. I said, nothing I can do.
You shouldn't be walking around anyway. Stay in bed.
You were doing what was, I think, the best possible practice,
Yeah.
I mean, she's the one that gave herself the test while he was there, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So, what are you going to do?
Well, we got these 15-minute tests here.
Yeah.
We sent away for them, but we're not using them because we don't have any, suspicion that we have anything.
Hey, when I was really active, I was a 15-minute guy myself.
Yeah. Yeah, but the woman didn't get the results in 15 minutes. That's the problem. She got him. She got him in about 30 seconds, from what I hear about
that's
you.
All she got was 15 minutes, and that was with floor play.
Floor play?
Yeah, floor play.
Yeah, okay.
Friday Night Phil is funny.
Phil's on a roll.
Yeah, Phil. Phil's a very funny guy when he wants to be. So it's good to see here. Oh, look, here comes Vernon Null, another regular. Kevin just joined us.
What the hell's Phil doing here?
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What the hell's Phil doing?
I got dementia.
Yeah. He heard us talking about him last night.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
He heard us talking about him last night, and he's a lot like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, and he shows up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so sorry to hear you weren't feeling well, Josh. But it's good to know you're on the mend. Okay. Whatever that means. In other words, you're still above room temperature, and I think that's good.
I'm okay.
Down in Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen, it's the lovely strains of Vernon Nunn and his orchestra. Hello, Vernon.
How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing down there?
Well, we had one of our volunteers at Habitat test positive for COVID yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you want to tell us something new that's unusual that hasn't happened to you?
Well, the ice and snow, since the tornado that ripped across western Kentucky, we've had 2 additional emergencies declared by the governor because of the ice and snow that's gone through here.
Wow. Didn't I see in California where they had a lot of the fires and stuff? Now they have a lot of snow. Did I read that somewhere? No, I didn't.
I saw that in Colorado.
Colorado, yeah.
Colorado,
okay. Yeah.
Right.
That's where it was.
Yeah. Boy, what's all that noise?
That's Kevin.
Shuffling papers.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah. When are the frogs and boils coming? Is what I'm wondering.
After the locusts.
And
We already had the locusts.
Remember the murder hornets? The murder hornets were supposed to be here.
Yeah. But what the hell? It's we're in bad shape all the way around. I hate to say that.
Well, the good news about the positive test on my volunteers is that we were following the protocol for Habitat, and we were all wearing masks indoors.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so the chances that this person who tested positive had helped his neighbor out on Monday night, and he was real close with him helping whatever they were doing on Monday night. And then he came to Habitat on Tuesday, hasn't had any symptoms until today, and that's when he tested positive. But he thinks he caught it from the neighbor because the neighbor informed him on Wednesday that he had tested positive.
God, this thing is ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, the good thing is we've changed the protocol at Habitat. Number 1, all volunteers are required to wear masks indoors.
Right.
If you're working indoors, you have to wear a mask. And I think that probably has kept any of the other people who were working, there were 6 of us on last Tuesday, it's probably kept any of the other people who worked that day around this guy from catching it. Because
In a lot of cases,
the whole time.
in a lot of cases in construction, which Habitat for the Humanities is, don't you wear masks?
If you're doing something that's dusty, like drywall,
Yeah.
yes, you're gonna wear a dust mask anyway.
Yeah. So, that's a lot of the work, oddly enough. So people are used to working in building homes and wearing masks at times. So.
Yeah, well, if you're cutting trim or things like that, and you've got the saw set up outdoors usually,
yeah,
you're probably wearing eye protection, but you're probably not wearing a dust mask if you're sawing trim outdoors.
I assume by trim you mean stuff that goes along the walls and stuff like that,
right.
Not what I refer to as trim, which is something else
I don't
altogether.
know. What do you refer to as trim?
Oh, well,
They got legs that go up to here.
Let me close my door, please.
close your door. Yeah, the show's getting run. Oh, nice pants. Nice pants.
Yeah, well, he does.
All right.
I just put on a new pair just now tonight.
My Christmas attire. So warm.
And I had forgotten this. This is a fleece overshirt. And it's great to sit around the house, especially here where they don't turn on the heat very often. And it keeps you really nice and toasty and warm and good, So.
From Costco?
No. Marjorie got this from, I don't know. It's $100 thing here, this deal.
I got an REI for that kind of stuff.
What?
REI. Do they have one of those out by you?
What's REI?
REI?
No.
No, it's like an outdoor...
recreational equipment. Something, I don't know what it is.
I can't remember where.
Well, my girlfriend had always went camping, got a lot of stuff there.
No, wait a minute. Who made this? If I can. Anybody read the label there? There's the label. Wait a minute.
Aldehyde.
What?
Aldehyde.
That's made in China.
Made in China. Do not wear.
Made in China. Yeah. No. There we go. There's the label. Can anybody read it?
All we can see.
It'd just be better if I took the damn thing off, right? Looked at it. Hold on a second.
We can read your cap.
Well, of course.
Probably LL Bean.
I think it is, actually. No, it's Bean signature. Yeah. It's LL Bean.
LL Bean, yeah.
LL Bean.
They sell those at Costco for $17 a piece.
No, they don't. LL Bean stuff isn't cheap.
$16 a piece.
That used to be catalog only.
I think it still is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now it's owned by the pillow guy.
Yeah, some of the Mike Pillow guy. With all that money he made. Yeah. Does he have any money left?
If he was an attorney, he would.
Instead, he ended up being a Trump supporter.
I think he'll be out of business shortly. I mean, he's in bad shape. And have you gone to his site lately? He's selling everything but the kitchen sink, and I think next week he's selling kitchen sinks.
Alan, how many My Pillows do you own?
I have 4 brand new ones that are still sealed, and then I have 3 other ones that I use on a regular basis. Most comfortable pillow I've ever owned.
Go out of business. Not with guys like Alan.
But now on the other hand, Phil, you said you bought some.
I bought them was in January.
You said you bought some and you hate them.
Yeah, I bought 2, and very uncomfortable. I wouldn't. I don't like.
I wouldn't take his word for it. He's a Republican.
Well, I never bought any, and I still hate them. Okay, so Yeah,
I should
Alan.
Send you these,
Kevin.
If they're unsealed, what are you saving them for? You're going to sell them on eBay as collector's items or something?
I was thinking. Because I thought that they would wear out more quickly. I've had the first 2 since 2018, the first 3, and they don't wear out. You put them in a washer with really hot water, and put them in the dryer for 2 hours, and they dry.
Yeah.
They don't crush down either. They're like a big pillow,
Phil had to get the extra firm ones, and now he's complaining about his neck hurting.
Yeah, I did extra firm. That's about all I got.
Take some of the stuffing out.
That's all you got nowadays. It's extra firm, right?
Oh, stop it! Just stop it. You don't go after somebody who has a problem with that kind of joke.
I said it
What
first.
type of problem does he have?
Extra firm.
Keeping extra firm. Well, I guess this show isn't going to be monetized. Anyway, you know what happens? I'll tell you. they only do it on the live show. After the show's over, I go over and I look at the live feed before I post the recorded feed. And I go over there, and they say, you can't be monetized. You know, this may not be acceptable to advertisers. So then I have to put in there, I request a redo of your assessment, okay? Because it was done by a machine anyway. And then they always get back to me and say, congratulations, guess what? You know, and I'm going, and over the last year, I went back and looked at every show. And there are no, because I always requested a review, there were none of them have ever been demonetized after they did the review. Alex, so haven't they learned by now, hey, Alex Bennett does this show, we keep getting this machine review, and then we're forced to go do it. We should probably just, you know.
They send that to every YouTuber on the planet. And if they don't say anything, then they don't get paid, and YouTube keeps the money. So it's just an automatic.
No, wait a minute. If I'm not monetized, they don't get money.
Somebody gets the money.
No. It's not like all of a sudden you're demonetized, so now YouTube can get all the money from the ad in the front.
The way it works, YouTube gets the money, you get bupkis.
Well, I think this year, folks, if any of you want part of it, I'll be happy to send you a small stipend. I made $200 this year.
We should divide that up amongst us.
You know, actually, Joe Rogan makes that in 3 seconds. Okay, so, you know, I just don't understand it. So I keep they keep demonetizing me, and then so I then write them, and then after about 7 days, they write back and say, "Oh, well, no, that we found out you can be monetized. It's fine. Your review is passed," and blah blah blah. And I'm going, you know, people were only looking at that show for a couple of days, and now I'm not getting into the advertising revenue because you guys demonetized it. You know,
maybe they should advertise My Pillow on it.
Yeah. So.
They wouldn't let him on because he doesn't spew their way of doing.
No, he spews is what the problem is, Phil. You know,
yeah.
They're not trying to censor people. They're just trying to keep people from passing across what they consider to be false information.
The interesting thing is Trump doesn't have anything good to say about the pillow guy.
No, something happened. I don't know what happened between
They
them.
had a falling out.
Oh, you know, I know what happened. Somebody was getting sued.
Trump lost.
Trump wanted to separate himself from the guy. I guess that may have been what was going on. The guy was saying things that was going to hurt Trump, and Trump got out of there.
Well, yeah, but Trump befriended him, and I got to say this about the My Pillow guy. In spite of the fact I think he's a total douchebag, and really he's a horrible person. Okay, anyway, but that not being the case, forget about it for a moment. I think that you honor your friends by sticking by them. And this is a guy who was invited to the White House, who sat with Trump, who stood up for Trump, and is in fact literally losing his business over his feeling of friendship with Trump. Okay? And so Trump then abandons him. What kind of a guy is Trump?
The guy went on and started saying, you know, as Alan would say, some Marjorie Taylor Greene type stuff about Trump, the election, and things like that. And I think it was hurting Trump and implicated him negatively in a lawsuit.
I think it's because
the
Trump.
Problem is, it's all true.
It's because Trump will dump people at a moment's notice if he feels it doesn't benefit him.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, that's Trump.
That's Trump. Well, I mean, how can you admire somebody like that?
I don't admire him. I just like his positions on and policies. But you know, as far as a person, you know, I didn't elect him to be a nice guy. You know, I voted for him to do what he said he was going to do, which was what he did.
What was that? Destroy the
Build the wall and
Republic?
restrict Muslims coming into the country.
Build the wall and control the border.
Which he did not.
And make Mexico pay for it.
Make Mexico pay for it. Well,
Yeah. Which neither happened.
He needs another 4 years to get the check.
Yeah, right.
I
It's
still
always
love
4 more years.
I still
4
love
more
the
years.
quote from the former prime minister or president of Mexico. I'm trying to remember what his name was now.
Oh, yeah, I am not paying for that fucking wall.
Yes, I'm not paying. We're not paying for that fucking wall.
That's funny.
Obrador or something like
I
that.
can't remember what his name was, but he was.
The check is in the mail.
The check,
Never getting there.
yeah, the check is in the mail.
I'm gonna post date it 5 years later, 20 years down the road.
Yeah,
Don't cash
yeah.
it for 20 years.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just amazing that I just think he should have stood by the My Pillow guy a little better than he did.
He doesn't
Well,
stand
he
up
offered
in
him a
the
caddy
Dumps
job.
one hat in there.
stay in the back.
He offered him a caddy's job at his Mar-a-Lago golf
A
club.
caddy job, yeah. And pretty soon he might have to take it.
Yeah.
How much is that per hour again?
But remember the My Pillow guy walked out of the White House with those papers, and they were just like all being shown out there, and all the camera crews were trying to zoom in on them.
Oh, papers? Yeah.
Can I, Alex, what's funny? God rest my mother's soul. She knows nothing about politics. But when she saw the My Pillow guy, she turned to me and said, "What is he doing there?" I says, "I have no idea."
I mean,
Western.
the thing is, Trump had run out of celebrities. Okay.
I'll never forget that. I have no idea.
That was one of the problems when he ran, is he couldn't get any celebrities to loan him any music, or every time he played something at one of his rallies, the musician would say, I'm not allowing
Well, no,
that.
you see, if you play music by somebody, you have to pay for the right to play that music. And he wasn't paying anybody for the right to play that music.
Even if they paid for the right, they didn't want their music played.
They have a right to say where their music is sold and not sold. In other words, if, let's say, tomorrow they want to use a Beatles song in a commercial, they can't just say, okay, we're going to use this Beatles song. How much is it going to cost? They have to get an okay from the person who wrote the song in order to do it.
Or who owns the rights.
Or owns the rights to it, which is usually the publishing company or the composer. All right.
Does Michael Jackson still own the Beatles catalog?
No, no longer.
He owned a lot of Elvis's.
I'm beginning. I don't know, but I think Paul McCartney bought them back. But I think I don't know. I don't know for sure.
They come with pictures of little boys with them.
Michael Jackson was married to Elvis's daughter, and they used to in the hills behind my car.
Elvis probably rolled over in his grave when that happened.
I think that was for only 10 days, though.
Yeah, they were. It was very short. It was a very short marriage.
Enough. I mean, he moved into the house. He lived behind my ex-wife's cousin.
Who lived behind here?
Jackson and Presley.
Well,
really?
Yeah, but they if they moved into any house, they moved into the home he had, which was Neverland Ranch.
This is, I think it was before that.
No. He married her after he was at Neverland.
He lived in Hidden Hills, which is just outside of Westlake.
Is this in where?
But Neverland.
In L.A.?
Yeah.
In L.A.? Well, that may be Neverland Ranch.
Well, no, Neverland's in Santa Barbara County.
Oh, is it really?
This was a large house, but it was not a ranch. I mean, it was behind Andy's and David's house, right? Just behind it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
yeah.
And
he comes on the show, and again he's spewing stuff, but he doesn't know the name of the road.
But he's also spewing, which is pretty par for the course for Phil. Is I know this person that.
Yeah. I not only do I know them, I was at their house.
I put in their flooring.
And then I quit on them halfway through, and they now have bare floors.
Yeah, and
I don't know. He builds himself up a lot. Alex was saying. I knew Alex when.
What's the name of your company again? It's
Carpet One.
Carpet One. You should have do you have a slogan for Carpet One?
Yeah, we come just before Carpet Two in the phone book.
I was just thinking that the Carpet One Your slogan probably should be, "We leave you with a bare floor."
I stole a saying from a store that my father used to do business with in New York. We buy by the mile, you save on every yard.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Charlie Wallace has his hand up, and he's looking at his phone, so there must have been some headline.
No, Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley were married for 18 months.
18 months. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, was that from beginning to end? Or was that
May 1994 to December 1995?
Is that when she moved out of the house? I mean, you know.
I haven't opened up the story. That's just.
Yeah.
But Nicolas Cage, right? Nicolas Cage, they got married.
Well, she married Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage and Michael Jackson?
First.
No.
Yeah, before Michael Jackson, I think. She was married to
Before?
Nicolas Cage. Yeah, Nick Cage.
And he was a huge Elvis fan, right? So he just married her just
Whack Elvis's daughter.
exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, so
Slap that booty.
You go down to Graceland, and they have her plane there. The plane, the Lisa Marie, the big plane that Elvis owned. Until he was too fat to get through the door.
Lisa Marie,
that heavy at the
Lisa
end.
Marie was his granddaughter.
Remember?
Hilda was his wife.
His daughter.
Lisa Marie
Lisa Marie
was married to Michael Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was getting confused.
And then she was also
I thought
married
there
to
was an additional
Nicolas
generation
Cage. And now she's married to the My Pillow guy. I don't know if you knew that.
Elvis would really jump off.
Start that rumor.
She is
What
such
are you doing?
she is such a celebrity chaser. I have no idea about that.
I heard Lindsey Graham was trying to date her. I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, anyway.
Isn't he from your home state there, Vernon?
By the way, I want to ask Josh, how did you celebrate Insurrection Day?
I went to work.
Really?
The same thing I did the day that it happened. I wanted to do everything exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. So did MSNBC. So you're not alone. I was so sick of, by the end of January 6th, I was so sick of this just absolutely repeating what happened a year ago, over and over and over and over and over and over again. You know, do one little 5-minute piece on it, say this happened a year ago, isn't it terrible, and it still lingers today, and move on to the other news, which is important, and we never get to any of it. You know, they just dwell on the same thing over and over again, and then they go. Today they were jumping up and down with glee the minute Sidney Poitier died, because they could then spend hours and hours and hours on Sidney Poitier. You know, so I mean, they just sit there waiting on their haunches, waiting for something to happen. Oh yeah, and then today, of course, they got the Ahmed Barbary, I'm trying to remember. Ahmed
Pronounce it.
Arbery.
Case.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery case. They did the sentencing, and 2 of them got life without possibility of parole. Is there such a thing as that? I mean,
Let's call it throwing away the
where
key.
you make it so definite that there's no way that anybody can ever get out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
And the third guy, I guess the guy who took the photographs and the pictures, the video.
He shot the video.
The video. He got a life with possibility of parole.
How old is he?
Have no idea.
50. Oh yeah, he'll never see the outside of
He's
prison.
in his 50s.
Hey, I got this one here. Property records show that 4 times married celebrity Scientologist purchased 3.14 acre 2-parcel compound located behind the gates of the star-studded Hidden Hills community in December of 1993.
What has this got to do with what we were talking about?
Because he's trying to prove that he was near greatness. He wasn't there, but he was near greatness.
I was just behind the fence.
You could yell and say, "Did your her dad was Elvis?" I would ask, did he really eat the pancakes with banana? No, the banana grilled cheese.
Are you sure you're only drinking
Are
coffee?
you talking about Elvis's predilection towards banana? What is it?
And she's like,
No,
I tried it once. I couldn't
Banana
make it.
potato chip sandwich.
no, a banana and potato chip sandwich.
Grilled cheese sandwich.
He made a grilled cheese with banana. I tried it once. I cut it, sliced it thin. I didn't like it.
Of course not. That would suck.
And I tried it. I cut it thin and I put it. It just didn't taste good. I just wanted to know what it tasted like.
Did you try the banana cheese or did you use regular cheese?
No, I used regular banana. Actually, I cut it thin, and then I just put it in like.
Boy, this show's getting down to the nitty gritty of stuff tonight, isn't it? Yeah.
I just wondered what it tastes like. I gotta try.
All the major topics. Yes.
I like banana and peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah, that I do like. Your peanut butter and apple too sometimes.
And pickles and apples.
No.
What?
Peanut butter and apple. Peanut butter and apple, right there.
Peanut butter and
That I
apple.
like. Yeah, that's good.
Pickle, what are you, pregnant?
Well, peanut butter and apple would work.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, peanut butter and apple would work.
So does almond butter and hazelnut butter and apple and celery, you know?
Very fattening. Nutella is very fattening.
Oh, not Nutella. They've got like it's just regular hazelnut butter. Instead of peanut butter, they make it from hazelnuts.
But you know what's happening to me lately? And I think I'm dying of something. Well, of course, I'm dying of
We all are.
Yeah, we all are.
But Marjorie is doing everything she can to see if she can fatten me up. I mean, like I'm lying there. We're watching. What? Not that again. What's not that again?
I'm dying. I'm dying.
I'm gonna be dying next. So.
Marjorie, take out an insurance policy on your life.
Anyway,
He's probably feeding him like Julius
let
Caesar.
me tell you this. What I was going to tell you. Okay. So anyway, we're sitting there watching endless binge shows. I won't even begin to tell you what we so miss Yellowstone. We started watching Yellow Jackets. You know. So anyway. And what she does is we're lying there, which is no exercise at all. Okay, there is no sweat being used lying in bed. Okay, but we would think it probably should be an Olympic sport because we'd be very good at it.
What if you put another blanket on you? Maybe you could sweat then.
We put a blanket on. We weren't sweating either. Anyway, so she then says, "Oh, well, let me go out to the kitchen. I'll be right back." She comes back with a bag of potato chips.
I knew it.
And then she leaves the room and she comes back with a bag of corn chips.
Frito-Lays?
And I'm going, what are you trying to do to me here? You know? And then she says, do you want some of those sea salt crackers? Yeah, I'll take a couple. And she brings like 5
I'm not
of them.
eating anything. Yeah. Oh.
And then every day, just to make sure I'm not gaining any weight from this, I have my jeans, which I never get into because I never go out, okay, because it's like snowing last night, whatever. And I put on these pants, and I'm able to fit right into them, and they're getting less than snug. And I'm going, I'm losing weight?
Were those the ones you used to wear before you started Atkins?
No, these are the ones I bought halfway between.
You know, you once showed a picture or something of the pants that you had prior when you had lost it down to like 170 something.
Yeah.
And then you had your total fat pants.
Yeah. I think I look too thin then.
Did you keep those pants or did you toss them?
I toss those because you don't want to ever get back to those. You know. But I just wondering why I'm not gaining weight with all this crap she's feeding me.
The scale is broken.
You're dying.
Yeah, well, eventually I'll put it on to be
Maybe
too
you have a
snug.
tapeworm.
You know, when I buy jeans, I get the stretch ones, so I can never tell.
Okay, I do have a pair that are slightly stretchy, but I
His
don't ever wear
underwear is
those.
stretchy too, I hear.
How would you know that, Alan?
As I said, I hear. That's what I said. I said, I hear.
You sniff at the drawer?
What are you doing?
Yeah, just before he paused at the door to get out. Anyway,
I gotta find the trim somewhere.
so look, you know, Josh is a political wonk, and today in the Supreme Court they heard the arguments against the mandates for vaccinations the president had for companies over 100. All right. How do you think that's going to go? They say that it looked like the justices weren't too happy with the law.
I kind of lean that way. I don't know what they said on C-SPAN right now, and it's on my television, but I don't have the volume up, of course, so I haven't listened to it yet. I'm not sure. I mean, I would have to think, it's probably going to have a tough road, but
doesn't the president have the right to pass laws for the health and welfare of the country?
Well, he has the right as, the executive under which, OSHA and its parent department falls under, Health and Human Services, et cetera, that, through executive orders to enforce certain rules and regulations, and then they have some sort of blank check powers within that, because OSHA cannot make a law for every single every single contingency that could ever happen. So they have some broad verbiage that allows them to do certain things. I mean, I have a decent amount of experience with that, in the real world, but I don't know that having people be forced to undergo a medical, procedure, if you will, as minor as we may, see it, is something that is going to be perceived as being okay when some of those laws were written. I'm not telling you that I think it's good or bad, or it will work or it won't work. I'm just saying, I think that's the question, is what I'm saying, is, this language was, I guess there's a lot of difference between, OSHA having the power to, as new technology develops, say, you have to, this new piece of equipment that's come out, you have to put a guard over that here, and here, is far different from saying, and you have to take everyone who operates it to the doctor and get them inoculated for something. I mean, that's just two different types of things. So that's going to be the question.
I don't know that it's overreach. I don't see it as overreach. I see it as something that's looking out for my health. Yes,
yeah, I mean,
Vernon.
It's in that area. I don't know that it's overreach. I think I might personally sort of lean that way, but legally, I mean, it's certainly an area that's gonna split a lot of people.
Vernon has his hand up.
Definitely.
The thing that I find really annoying is that the people who are against the mandate are singling it out and saying, okay, you can't force me to get vaccinated. But that's not what the president has edicted. What the president has said is you have to require your employees, if you have 100 or more employees in your company, you have to require them to get vaccinated, or, and this is the part that Republicans like to leave out, or they have to submit to a testing regimen and wear masks all the time while they're at work. So you got a choice there. You can either get vaccinated or you can do the testing regimen. And that is to protect the public. It's to protect public health.
Right
It's
now,
not some kind of draconian requirement to control your life. It's to protect public health.
let me ask you something. Let's say the person wants to get the test. Right now, and for the last month, I don't think anybody's been able to get many of those tests. And the people that need those tests are the ones that are most at risk, older people, people in nursing homes. And so if people are just taking these tests, they're going to be scarce, but we can't get tests. I have an employee that was exposed to COVID yesterday. I don't know where he's going to get a test.
A lot of the tests are being sucked up right now because of the schools.
Yeah.
Yes, Tony.
I was thinking too, like Vern was saying with the mandates, and think, even though this is not about the mandates, but thinking about it like, say 30, 40 years ago when I was a kid, right? Say in the early 80s. You were allowed to smoke when my mother took me to McDonald's. They were smoking everywhere. Now we understood that cigarettes, secondhand smoke can get you sick. Now you can't smoke at certain places. How come they're not going crazy about that? The Republicans, like, it's for our own health.
And how about the fact that Republicans aren't going crazy over the fact that in most school districts in the United States, as a parent, you are required to have your kid inoculated against the flus, the measles, the mumps, whatever, all these various shots, and nobody's complained about that.
But on a local level, this is the national at national level saying that you have to have a vaccine.
All the kids.
No, they're not. It's a choice, Bill. They're not saying you have to have a vaccine. See, that's where I get so frustrated with Republican thinking people. You're saying you have to have a vaccine. That's not what they're saying. They're saying you got a choice. You can either get vaccinated or you can have a testing regimen. You have a choice there.
This is your choice. Get vaccinated, or the government's going to make your life miserable, and they're going to make sure you can't work and you can't go to a restaurant. And
I think the government has the right to do that to protect public health.
Yes, Charlie.
Typhoid Mary was locked up for her whole life, kept away from people because typhus didn't make her sick, but anybody that got around her got sick from it. So for 30-something years, she was locked away and couldn't go anywhere. Quarantined.
Wow.
Well, I didn't listen to the argument yet, and I will. I'll probably maybe try to play it tomorrow. But I think one of the things that they'll look at, because it falls under OSHA's guidelines, is typically what you'll get sometimes with an OSHA guideline is they'll try to take a look at if the enforcement or the regulation will cause basically an undue burden to the employer. So they'll have to weigh the burden versus, I guess the results that they could get. Now, I mean, I think there are some things obviously that no matter what the burden would be, if you want to be in business, this is what you have to do. So, maybe that's the way it'll go. But at times, they will look at how that goes. So, some companies, large companies or whatever, like mine, for example, I'm not saying this is what they do. I'm not speaking for them. I'm just saying someone that employs as many people could say, if we don't make our folks get vaccinated, and you're saying they have to have all these tests every couple of days or once a week or twice a week, whatever it is, it's very burdensome. Okay. It's a lot of, I don't know, testing, paperwork, logistics, et cetera, and that is a lot of, work. It's an undue burden, that kind of thing. I mean, it's and it costs too much. It's very costly or whatever. I mean, it's kind of how when the Americans with Disabilities Act passed, for example, but you already owned a building that was built in 1950. They didn't make you then immediately convert that building. It's an undue burden. Okay, so it's grandfathered in. Now, if you build a new building, it has to meet it, or if you remodel that building, you have to bring it up to that. But you don't have to just because we passed it. So I'm just saying I think that's something that'll get weighed, and the opposition to that, if that's their argument, will at least have a legitimate argument. You might still not think I don't care if it costs $1 bazillion or whatever. I think it's worth it, and that is also a legitimate point of view. But I think that will be maybe one of the arguments that they use. I'd be interested to listen to see if that's what they argued.
Yes, Alan.
Why can't the president take something out of Trump's playbook? Why can't he sign an executive order?
He signed an executive order.
That's what he did. That's what the law.
That's what they're challenging.
That's what the law is for.
I didn't know that you could challenge an executive order. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh sure.
You can challenge the enforcement of any federal law.
Oh, okay.
That you want to.
I don't like paying taxes. I'm going to challenge that.
That's been tried 4 or 5 times.
Good luck. You won't be the first.
Right.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Vernon.
I mean, but also that's another argument that the opposition is probably going to make, because they are probably going to say that the president, the executive, does have some of these powers within our language, within our verbiage that we use, but this is outside of those boundaries, and a change this large, we are not, they may argue, I don't know, we're not saying that this would be unconstitutional. As written, we're saying it's unconstitutional as implemented. In other words, if Congress had passed this language and the president had signed it, that would be one thing. So they may argue that as well, that this was too far and that it bypassed the legislative process. You know, because typically only Congress can change OSHA's regulations or federal law. It's very cumbersome to do, but times change. So there is some power within OSHA's language to change the things that they enforce through the executive. Their director has some of their own powers to do it, etc. But again, we write these things and they're at times ambiguous. And if you ask some people, they're going to say, well, that's a very broad power. And if you ask some other people, they're going to say, no, that was very narrow. And you'd have to go to Congress. So that's probably going to be the argument, I think, that it was done outside of the boundaries of what OSHA had the power to do, and that it's probably an undue burden on the employers. And I don't know that they're going to approach it nearly as much from an individual freedom point of view. I don't know, but that's my guess.
You're right. What just hearing in the background what they were talking about, it was that OSHA didn't have the power to do this, and that's overstepped. Or
I don't know that they're going to argue that the government doesn't have the power to tell a person, that they have to have some sort of medical, thing done for public safety, because you guys are correct, right? We do have other laws, polio or, this vaccine or whatever. So they're not as well prepared to make that argument because they don't have much precedent on their side for that. So probably what they're going to argue is, we concede that point, but we are going to argue that those regulations, those laws and procedures came about through the normal and complete legislative process. A bill was introduced in the House, it went through a committee, it went through debate, it was passed. The same thing happened in the Senate, went to the executive, and it was passed. And all of the people were represented in that process by all their lawmakers and our national executive. And I think that might be one of their arguments, that those laws came about through that process, and this law didn't.
I can't remember. I can't remember what one of the right-wing judges said today, but I read what he was saying, and I can't even quote it to you, but it just seems so stupid as an idea and as a concept that I couldn't believe it was even.
Alito was the judge who said what you're talking about, and I had the same reaction.
And what was that? What did he say exactly? I'm trying to remember what he said, but my memory isn't what it used to be.
It was something to the effect that how can you say that vaccinations are in the public interest? Some stupid thing like that.
Yeah, where do you live? Well, I guess he does live in a cloistered, gated community.
I don't know. Unless they're just. Sometimes they might ask a sort of open question like that to try to get an answer on where the legal theory that the other side has, for that or whatever. I'll listen to it, but
let me ask Brian. Let me ask Brian a question while I got him here, because your company puts out the pieces of equipment that test for COVID, right? Right.
Yes.
Are you having trouble meeting the demand?
Oh yes.
Really?
So when I was a director of manufacturing in the production group, we had about 20 different assays, different diseases, infectious diseases that we were testing for.
Yeah.
One of our goals was you're never to be on back order. So we would come close because sometimes we had some tough times building the chemistry for it, but we did very good. Now we're like back ordered on, all of the concentration is now on COVID and Fluvid, our Fluvid assays, and we still can't keep up. We have the Newark plant. We have 2 buildings we're just opening now, and they're starting to get up. They've done like 5 million tests so far, and then ours, the Lodi one, the big one that I've been working on, that one's coming up April 4th for production, and we cannot keep up with the demand at all.
You just can't, and it's impossible even for you. And you're a fairly big company at this point, right?
Yeah, we're very big right now.
And you also, do you have a plant in China as well?
So China and India, we have some small stuff that we're starting to get into right now. Yeah. They're just starting up in qualifications, but yeah.
What type of
and
small
when
stuff do you
it's
have in
regional,
China? Condoms. Let's see, what else would be in China? The small stuff.
What?
We also have Sweden.
Did I just hear a racist remark?
No.
You said they got small peepees.
An anti-Asian remark referring to Asians with small penises.
That's what I heard.
That's what you heard, right?
I heard small peepees, Alex.
See, Tony, a
volume.
very nice and loyal guy, just ratted on you.
Hey, Tony, where do you go on Sunday for dinner?
Wow. I used to go. Me and my mom used to get it delivered all the time. Friday nights was our night.
Say where you go, Tony.
Tony, Chinese food.
I know. She used to say that. Let's go to Chinese. I miss her.
Chinese food.
Alex, she has all the old menus. I said I had to throw them out. I'd save some of them now.
But just so I won't get in trouble.
They'll come in 15 minutes. I said, don't worry.
We build over 300,000 tests a day, and we cannot keep up.
Wow.
How many tests a day?
300,000.
Wow. And you can't keep up. Wow.
Are these tests only COVID or all the things that you guys do?
No, they're COVID and Fluvid. I think we're doing some MRSA stuff right now also, but yeah, like 80%.
Now, what is Fluvid?
Fluvid is 4 assays, 4 flu respiratory diseases that we can check for.
People that have flu and COVID, right?
Yeah, now we have the plus assay because we're taking care of the Delta variant.
Okay, all right. So
we're very busy.
So in other words,
everything we work.
The supply chain system is so damaged right now. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're making. No one can make anything the way they're supposed to be making anything. And it's been very difficult to get people to work. I mean, I'm not saying that it's due to anything in particular, but look, I think everyone that I talk to deals with the same thing. There are people just don't want to come to work.
Yeah.
I mean, our absenteeism rate is incredibly high, and it's not for COVID. I mean, it's just because they're
not showing up. In Georgia, they make most of the carpet in Georgia. There's one big carpet mill, Mohawk. It's very, very large. And they have a lottery. So if you show up for work, you get a ticket for the lottery.
Oh, really?
Work overtime, you get 2 tickets, and the prize is a Jeep Cherokee every month.
Yeah.
Wow. A new Jeep Cherokee. And all you got to do is show up for work, and then if they draw your name or when it's you win.
Maybe you want to do that with your employees, Phil.
You get a better chance of getting COVID.
What'd you say? Wait a minute, Phil. Let Phil finish because continue what you're saying, Phil. We couldn't hear you.
That's how bad it is and how difficult it is to get people to show up for work. That they're resorting to giving away a car every month.
Wow.
You ought to do that, Phil.
You gotta give a call.
Well, anyway, that's it for tonight. That's it for the week. It's so nice to have you guys around. Really appreciate it. Charlie Wallace, always a pleasure to have you here. Josh, Fridays are Josh nights. Kevin. Thank you. Phil, for deciding to give us a call tonight. No telling how many other people would have called, but when you called, they decided not to, but we got you there, and I appreciate that.
I think I tell you my COVID story of woe.
Yeah, and also thanks to Alan, thanks to Kevin, and thanks to Vernon, and of course to Tony. Every one of you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel. There they go. Okay, let me just hang up on them here so that we can finish off the program. Anyway, listen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be here. Well, Jack Bishop is next with The Intersection, and we'll be back here again on Monday at 4 o'clock on Facebook with our pop-up show, and then you'll be able to watch that after it's been done over on YouTube and also on our gabnet.net. And then we'll see you again on next Wednesday at 10:30. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? And by the way, get vaccinated if you haven't done so. Get a booster if you haven't done so. And wear a mask. That would be awfully nice if you don't do any of those things. See you on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.